Was techeles. Everybody knows how do we get techeles? We get it from the chalazain. Tandrim kiveger. Where are you going to get a chalazain bisman hazeh? V'layayid, he says, there's a machlekes what color our gammon is. How you can ever determine what color our gammon is? So that was another taina that Reb Kveger taina. A third taina that Reb Kveger taina is that where are you going to get? How are you going to know the avonim for the ephod? Because you have the Kohen Gadol had the stones which on the Choshen Mishpat on his breastplate. How are you going to ever get the right stones? Who knows what Yahalom is and all these things are? I will tell me. Who needs a Kohen Gadol? So we won't have a Kohen Gadol. We won't be makar b'Kohen Hedyot. That's no taina. Why? Because before we said that the only way you can be makar banazeh is because of Tumah Tchuya or Hutter B'Tzibur. How do we ever get the Tumah Tchuya or Hutter B'Tzibur? Because tzitz meratzeh, because of the tzitz of the Kohen Gadol is meratzeh. If you need a tzitz meratzeh, so then you need a Kohen Gadol. If you need a Kohen Gadol, then you need avonim for the ephod. If you need avonim for the ephod, so then in achinami, then you need the avonim. Time to where are you going to get the avonim? There's another problem. Because the halacha is tiny techsam sefer. Then in order to be makar korbanos tzibur, you have to collect shkalim. Because in order to korbanos tzibur has to be brought from shkalim. Where are you going to collect shkalim? Bisman hazeh from Gans Klal Yisrael. So nor last tiny techsam sefer that Reb Tzvi Hirsch Kalashir never meant his whole thesis l'gabi korbanos tzibur, because by korbanos tzibur you run into the problem of shkalim. Where did he mean? He only meant there's one korban that's not nikra with shkalim, and that is the korban pesach. So that some sefer fargins the other korbanos you couldn't bring. The only korban you could bring would be the korban pesach. Tainit tzvi pesach, but that's a problem. Why? Because in order to be makriv on a mizbeach, you have to be mechanech the mizbeach. Because remember, we're building a new mizbeach mechadash. In order to build it, when you use a new mizbeach, you have to bring a korban chinuch for that mizbeach. What's the korban chinuch of a mizbeach? A tamid shachar. Tamid shachar is a korban tzibur. Korban tzibur, you need shkalim for. You need shkalim. Where are you going to get shkalim from Gans Klal Yisrael? B'loyai, tainit the binyan siyah that the pasuk says, "V'hashimaisi es migdashchem, v'loy ariach berech nichaychachem." Pasuk says in the Teichecha that the Rebbeinu Shalom is going to destroy your migdash, and they're not going to be meriach berech nichaychachem. Tainit the binyan siyan and Isaiah Zokt in Tziv that the Gemara says in Zvachim Memvav that al shisha dvarim hazevach nizbach. That for 6 things, you have to be makar of a korban for 6 different things. One of them is l'shem reach, and you do l'shem nichayach. So memela v'balt, it says b'lo yariach berech nichaychachem. Memela, you can't be makar of a korban l'shem reach and l'shem nichayach. So memela to be akiv. V'chi tema, that's only a l'chachila. But b'di'eva, that's not mi'akev. So tainit in Tziv, that's kol haroi l'bila and bila ma'akeves by. When it's shaykh to use it to be makar l'shem reach, so then reach isn't ma'akev. But over here, where the Rebbeinu Shalom proclaims v'lo yariach berech nichaychachem, so memela, over here, you can't go ahead and be makar korbanos tzibur. Tainit the emek bracha, that the emes is that you only need reach nichayach by his other korbanos. But by korban pesach, there is no halacha of reach nichayach. So back again, we can come and say that we can be makar the korban pesach at least, because you don't need the shem reach or shem nichayach. So with this, he wants to say very nice pshat in the bracha that we say in the Haggadah. In the Haggadah we say, Grace, I don't know if you have a lamdanim by your table this pesach, you can say over this word. State azay. Kein Hashem Elokeinu Yagienu L'Mayadim U'L'Regolim Acherim Smechem B'Binyan Yirechav V'Sasim B'Avarisach. The Tzevi, like this Cheshbon, a korban Pesach, you could perhaps be makriv. Because korban Pesach, you don't need l'shem reach or l'shem nichayach. Our tefillah is that you will build the Beis Hamikdash, and we'll be able to be makar the Korban Pesach in the Beis Hamikdash. And when we will be makar the Korban Pesach in the Beis Hamikdash, then it'll fact be l'rotzain, because it will have the added measure of l'shem reach l'shem nichaya. A kitzer, just to sum up briefly, even though Rav Tzvi Hirsch has, I'm not going to go into all the kuchen back and forth with Rav Kveger, the farin for these tainas. Rav Tzvi Hirsch Kalashir says that his Rebbe, the Gaon Hadar, the Gadol Hadar, the Rash Kabag of Kveger, was maskim to him. If you look through this sefer, you get the distinct impression that Rav Kveger was not maskim to him, and that every time he came up with Epsateret, Rav Kveger came up with Nachataina. But so he says his Rebbe was maskim to him. It's not mashma like that, but the Binyan Tzion was certainly not maskim to him, and the Nesivos was certainly not maskim to him, and it seems that the Gdolei Hador of that Zman were not maskim for all these problems. On top of everything else, even if we could get by these problems, but there are some problems that are seemingly insoluble, and that is, for instance, the Rambam paskins in Hilchos Korban Pesach that a Korban Pesach is nikrav together with the Gid Anosha. That you do not remove the Gid Anosha from the Korban Pesach, you makar the Korban Pesach complete with the Gid Anosha. The Ravid says, Chayai Reishi, I swear by my life, that you don't chas v'shalom makar v'korban Pesach with a Gid Anosha. And the Ravid says that if the Rebbeinu Shalom will give me the schus to live, that I should be by the Hakravas Korban Pesach, if they bring me a Korban Pesach that was done like the Rambam Shita with the Gid Anosha in it, I will take it and throw it on the ground. As a time at the Ravid. So I ask you, what are you going to do? Are you going to be makar Korban Pesach like the Rambam or like the Ravid? And V'layai, in the Masechta Midas, there are so many machlokesen as to where the Mizbeach was. The only person that's capable of being paskening all the shalos with any authority is Eliyahu Hanavi or Melech HaMashiach. So even if you get around all these problems, the Big Dekuna and the Argaman and the Choshen and the whole Shir, if you can get around all these problems, what are you going to do when you get to a machlokes? And we don't know how to be machriya. So unfortunately, B'Avanasenu Harabim, we're going to have to wait until the Mashiach comes and builds the Beis Hamikdash, and then v'noich Hashem min azvachim min absachim and v'noich Malafanav Shir Kadosh Hallelujah.
How come Rav Kiva Eger didn't ask